Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Talk with AVC. I am your host, AVC. We are back for our second episode of the season here on Iona College campus. And we are going to be diving right into the NFL. So, as of last time, not a ton of free agents signed. As of this time, a bit more. So, in my opinion, the top free agent is off the board, and that was offensive tackle Trent Williams. He goes back to San Francisco on a humongous deal. The Niners also bring in Alex Mack to solidify that O-line. You know, for the Niners, it's really just about staying healthy. They still have a championship caliber roster. I don't care what anybody says about Garoppolo. He's good enough to get you to a Super Bowl. He proved that. The big thing for them is going to be finding a replacement for Richard Sherman. Assuming that he doesn't come back, which I'm assuming he doesn't. And I mean, unless you're going to maybe draft someone, I'm trying to think of who you could get that would really fill that void. It's going to be tough. But I do like the Niners this year if they stay healthy. And the other top free agent another top free agent off the board, and that is Giants fans. You can celebrate about something. Kenny Galladay. Now, I've had some people tell me that he's overpaid. Yes and no. Look, 4 years, $72 million at this time is a bit much in terms of money. However, it's what the market demands for the services of a guy like Galladay. And to me, I think the Giants gained something way more important than a star wide receiver with this signing. Perspective. And what I mean by perspective is they have stacked the weapons around Daniel Jones. Look, the O-line still isn't great. I think Andrew Thomas will improve year 2. Maybe Nate Solder can bounce back a little. Will Hernandez is okay. Maybe the interior O-line can bounce back a bit. I think that's where the Giants go with their first pick in the draft. I'd be shocked if they didn't go O-line. If they can get one of these good tackles, then move Thomas inside guard where he might fit a little bit better in the NFL. That would really help solidify that O-line. But what the Giants have done is they said, look, Daniel, no more excuses. We can't make any more excuses for you. We are giving you the best that we can. This division is terrible. Win this division. Come on, buddy. And he's nearing the end of his contract, out of his rookie contract. So if they can learn if he's the guy now before they give him the big extension. And the other thing is, what quarterbacks often do the best is, especially young ones, is when they come in and there's already a foundation built around them. The Giants will have that, and then they can just bring in a quarterback. What I hope doesn't happen for the Giants' sake is that they just go to kind of do what the Bears did, which is just go like journeyman hopping, which, oh God. And let's talk about the Bears. Chicago, I make fun of you a lot on this show, and there's a reason for that. You give me infinite reasons to keep doing it. I'd love to be in the war room, the front, whatever the room is where you're deciding on free agents, whether it's the owner or the GM, it's a Zoom call, whatever. I would love to be in that room and somebody just go, you know what we're going to do? We're going to sign Andy Dalton. He's going to make us a Super Bowl contender. Really? Really, Bears? That Andy Dalton, that's your big plan. In Chicago, where fans are notoriously hardcore. God, the McCaskies need to sell this team. I mean, this is just brutal. First of all, Andy Dalton is going to get killed behind that offensive line. That's number one. Number two, Andy Dalton is not the proper fit for this team. You needed a mobile guy. You needed a guy like a Marcus Mariota. I even think Mitch Trubisky would have been better on this team next year than Dalton will be. I mean, maybe he'll surprise me, but with no O-line, one solid receiver, and a couple of okay young guys, yeah, that defense is great, but honestly, I figured they'd go like Alex Smith. If you were going to go the veteran, well, I figured you'd go Alex Smith that would make a lot of sense to me. But this just, I don't get it. I don't get this. I understand that this was probably the backup plan because you were planning on trying to get Russell Wilson. First of all, you should never pin your hopes on a trade. That's number one, because anything at any time can derail it. And you see it in this situation. So, yeah, Wilson may or may not want out of Seattle. He says he doesn't want out, but he wants certain changes in the organization. To put it clearly, he wants a new coach. He wants Carroll gone. And I kind of get why. Look, the Seahawks have been a model organization for a few years now, but I think Pete Carroll is outdated. I mean, he limits what Russell Wilson can do on offense, and sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. A lot of times he just kind of seems like he's in cruise control. I mean, the guy's in his late 70s. I don't blame mid 70s. I don't blame him. But Carroll just seems to me he's a really old school coach. And in this new age of football, he's a defense and run first guy without the defense to back it up. And that's the Seahawks' problem. They're structurally built wrong for what their coach wants to run. They have a coach. How do I put this? It's like a restaurant it's like you own a steakhouse and that you've been running a steakhouse, right? And you got Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf and all these nice premier cuts of steak. But then you got a head chef in Pete Carroll who only knows how to make Italian food. That's the best analogy I can give you there, because Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll weren't a fit once Russ broke out. Once Russ became like a premier quarterback, then he didn't become a fit anymore. I don't think this is the last we've heard of this. I mean, I know he called out his O-line, but the dude's been getting killed in the backfield. I don't know if you've watched any of these games, but the guy gets pressured a lot. So, Will Fuller to the Dolphins. I don't think I covered this last time. Somebody can let me know if I did, but I don't think this happened last week. And it's happened over the weekend. 1-year deal. It's good. You needed to get whoever was going to be the quarterback in Miami, whether it's Tua, whether it's somebody else, weapons. That's something they were lacking. I mean, Devontae Parker is fine. Mike Gesicki, again, he's fine. You have an okay run game. But Will Fuller adds a nice deep threat and possibly more if he's healthy. It's only a 1-year deal. I like it for both sides. He can rebuild his value for next year. Yeah, we're going to talk about Deshaun Watson for a second. Oh, boy. Now, look, I am by no means an expert in this field whatsoever. But I have to say this and this only. Have you noticed how he hasn't been mentioned by ESPN or anybody else in the mainstream media recently? Yeah, there's a reason for that. He is up to not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but I believe it's now 11, 10 allegations of, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this word on the air, so I'll just go with misconduct. Producer giving a thumb up and said, yeah, I think we all know what I'm talking about, so let's just leave it at that. Do I think this will end his career? No, I do not. Why do I think that? Look at Antonio Brown. If you are extremely talented or an extremely good player in any sport, unless you're going to jail, even in going to jail, look at Mike Vick. It doesn't really matter. I mean, there will be somebody willing to take a chance on you. For the Texans, this might be your best chance to actually keep him, because this whole thing might scare off other trade partners. So it's going to be interesting. As far as excluding this, if I thought where he's going to get traded, my money's still on Miami. but that's just me. All right, so we sort of covered the Patriots last time, though I've heard a lot of things on the meeting with this guy on I'm thinking of the guy's name, but I'm Bleach reporting on Pro Football Focus, going after the Patriots, saying that they went into the season with all this cap spacing. Instead of going to Lord and Taylor, they went to, or not Lord and Taylor, instead of going to some high class store, they went to Target. And for all you, like I said, yeah, the Patriots don't spend with this amount of frequency as usual, but all of this is typical Patriots. You are signing guys who have very clear defined roles, very high floors, very safe players normally. That's what they do. And they needed to, the skeleton of the offense needed a facelift. They needed to build something around whoever the quarterback's going to be. It's going to be Cam for now. I think they get one in the draft. I would have said originally that I would have stuck with, before free agency, I had them taking Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. I thought he'd just be a perfect receiver for them. But now that they signed all these weapons and Edelman's coming back, and the fact that they sent their best scout to New England to Trey Lance's pro day. Apparently, I've heard a lot of rumors that they're high on Justin Fields. To be honest, I think that's a smokescreen. I think that's so somebody reaches on Fields so they can get Lance. Not that I don't think Fields is good, but I don't know. Something about that seems fishy to me. He just doesn't seem like a Belichickian quarterback. Or McDaniel's one for that instance. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting on that end. I don't know if I covered this signing last time it happened, but Hunter Henry. Look, they went from having the worst tight end duo statistically last year to now potentially having one of the best if Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith stay healthy. I think they can be game changers for this offense. I think one of them has the potential to be the number one receiver, kind of like Gronk was for a long time. And you got Aguilar, who is he's not a great number one. He's a good number two, and he's a great number three. But he's an okay number one. Kendrick Bourne, who the Patriots apparently have been after for years as a slot guy. So it's going to be interesting. And we're going to do a little bit of rapid fire here. Juju going back to the Steelers. I get it. The market just wasn't there. Go back to Pittsburgh for 1 year. Rebuild your value for next offseason. Bengals. Solid defensive depth signings and Mike Hilton and Trey Hendrickson. Not bad. Seattle. Gerald Everett. Not bad. Colts, you got Xavier Rhodes. He's kind of cooked, but we'll see. Shaquille Griffin to the Jags. Good. This seems like the typical the Jags overpay for one of the better defensive players on the market thing, but we'll see how that goes. David Andrews back from New England. Keanu Neal to the Cowboys. This one hurts me, but I get it. He's going to play with Dan Quinn again, the coordinator who understands him best. Mitch backing up Josh Allen. I think this is a great move. Rebuild your value for a year. Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, this is the Deshaun Watson insurance. Pat Peterson to the Vikings. Why? Pat, you had a chance to go to a contender and you went to the Vikings? Oh, God. Hassan Reddick to the Panthers. Pretty good. I think he still has some talent left. Kenyon Drake to the Raiders. You face-listed your O-line so you can sign Kenyon Drake and John Brown. Ugh. Panthers, Denzel Perryman. I like the building linebacker. Kyle Van Noy somehow back on the Patriots. Miami. What are we doing? I know you were clearing up money, but you just signed the guy. This is like someone playing a video game. It's like, this player didn't do that well. I'm going to trade him now. And, AJ Green to the Cardinals. Yeah, fine. It should be a decent fit. I mean, he's a little slow for that offense, but we'll see. Kyle Long coming out of retirement to go to the Chiefs. Yeah, he sees his shot at the Super Bowl. Good for him. And finally, in this segment, we're going to talk the Washington football team. The best way I can describe their offseason, is this. Like, just a big shoulder shrug. Washington, what are we doing? Ryan Fitzpatrick with this team. I love the Curtis Samuel signing. I love the William Jackson signing. Two great signings. One to help out your receiving core because you needed another weapon outside of Terry McLaurin, and one to help the back end of your defense. which was already a top-tier defense. So you got William Jackson and Kendall Fuller in the defensive backfield now. You got a great defense. All you need on that team is a game manager, and you took a gunslinger. You took a guy who wears out his welcome very quickly. Look, in my opinion, I think Mariota is the fit for the football team. But I think they went with Fitzpatrick because they didn't know if the Raiders were actually going to cut Mariota. Now they have. I think I could still see Washington making a play for a quarterback, given it's only a one-year deal for Fitzpatrick. And given the fact that the deals aren't technically finalized yet, I don't see them breaking it. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a bit of a QB battle in camp, and I guess we'll see how it goes. All right, thank you all for watching this NFL segment here on the Talk with ABC. We'll be back in a few minutes. We're going to talk a little bit of March Madness and a little bit of baseball. Maybe that actually the third segment and a little NBA at some point too. Thank you all very much for watching this segment, and I'll see you in the next one.